Radio Warwickshire.
Hello and welcome to the Duggystone Radio Show. This show is all about entrepreneurship, dyslexics and those people that have suffered adversity and come out the other side and made something with adversity. So I'm going to be interviewing people that I've met throughout my career and through what I currently do with my business, and I'm going to interview people that I've not currently met yet, and I'm quite interested in getting to know a bit more about them. And the format's basically going to be myself giving you some business tips at the start of the show, generally on a weekly basis, and then an interview with an individual or a specific topic. And then we'll round off with an area where we'll take a step back and sort of look at what someone has gone through and what they believe is the adversity they've faced and what that's done for them. And today's show I've got two great people I know. We've got Julie and Tarnya, and we did this, and it was an unscripted show that we did live, and it's not been edited, and it's just as it was, and that's how I like it. So I hope you enjoy the show. If you want to get in contact, then if you just go on Twitter and look for @Duggystone and start dropping me some messages there, link up with me, and I'd be really interested in hearing any questions people have got, and I'll dedicate a show to answer some of those questions. The whole ethos of this show is to encourage people to become entrepreneurs, and for those people that are probably sat in an office somewhere thinking, I wish I could do something else, or I'd really like to do that thing. So when I set off, I probably, like a lot of people, some way through it, learnt along the way, and hopefully this will help you on that track and show what other people have done that have been in the same position as you. So without further ado, let's hand it over to the interview with Tarnya and Julie, and I'd love to hear your comments, and here we go. Here we are. Well, I'm with a couple of business owners here, or entrepreneurs, if we like to call them, and obviously this show is about encouraging people to be entrepreneurs, or show them that you don't just have to do that 9 to 5 that you've been told that you need to do throughout your life. So I'm joined today with Julie and Tarnya. So just really, what do you think, you two, about being an entrepreneur, and what the difference is between, you know, working in a corporate life? So Julie, what do you think the difference is between being an entrepreneur and being in a business or working?
Okay, well, I worked in corporate life for probably 20 years in sales and sort of a sales development roles, and I always had a burning desire that I could do more. I had a lot of frustrations with the corporate structure, and you couldn't be innovative and put your own stamp on things. I think when I leaked into entrepreneurial world, that gave me the freedom to just follow my instincts and follow my desires and passions, and it gave me the self-confidence that actually you can do what you want to do, and whatever your driver is, whether it be monetary income or whether it be to help good causes or just have a different lifestyle and flexibility, you could do that. So whether, you know, my entrepreneurial button probably started as a kid selling sweets to your mates, or making that extra buck, or whatever it was. If you've got that little button burning away and you're sat at a desk 9 to 5 building other people's dreams and not having that release and being able to do it for yourself, I think that's probably how I would define entrepreneurship. Yeah, does that make sense?
No, it does. And I think it's really interesting because you obviously, by the sounds of it, had entrepreneurial aspirations as a young person. So what I think I know the answer to it, but was it family, was it school that was sort of saying, you can't really do that, that's not really what you do, you should be doing this, you should go and get a job in a, you know, and then, I mean, back in the day, in the typing, go and do the typing pool, because that's what you should do, you know, that's what we should,
I think lots of points in my life I've been told, you've got great potential. You're an unpolished diamond.
Oh, yeah.
When you leave school, a very influential teacher of mine, she kind of sighed and she said, "Oh, Julie, I know you're going to be amazing at something." And I just thought, well, nobody really knows what you want to do. And when you leave school and you sort of fall into job, a lot of people don't know what they want to do. They don't really want to know what they want to do till their 30s and 40s or even beyond that. I think you just kind of conform and go and get a job, and you do the 9 to 5 or longer hours. You know, I've done lots of different industries. I've done some 80-hour-a-week jobs, and you just want to fit in, or you just want a status, or you just want to earn the money to pay the bills, just to survive. But I think recently it was on the news that most people, if they lost their conventional job, they've only got savings to pay their bills for another month after that, and then they're in trouble. So I think being entrepreneurial is a little bit more, not survival, but you've got freedom to expand and look further ahead and make plans and make goals and achieve those goals, and you're not restrained at a desk almost.
Yeah, I think that's quite interesting as well, because I think that lack of that, it's almost like a handcuffs in it to the corporate life, because, oh shit, I can't go and do something with me life because I've only got enough income or enough savings to last me a month, so shit, I need to carry on, or I've not got enough time to go and do that thing that I really like doing. And I think that's it's like a vicious circle. And I think all too often I always advise people that I know was, I understand you've got to keep paying the bills and you've got the mortgage to pay and all the rest of it, so start doing something, say, at weekends when you're in your spare time. So instead of sat watching, I don't really like football, but instead of going and watching the football match, I know you're a keen football fan, don't do that. Go and do something else. And then build it up till it takes over from your life. And I think we're programmed and conditioned that we must have this thing, a job. And what I said to a few people is, well, they ask you, are you not bothered that you've only got a 3-month contract, so you only got a 1-month contract? And I said, well, I only had a 3-month contract when I was in a full-time job.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, Tarnya, go on, because you know, obviously, leads into a bit of a HR thing. So, you know, what do you think about entrepreneurism and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think just taking on your point there is the fact that people in permanent employment are lulled into a false sense of security that it is permanent, and actually it's not. Your employment is only as long as your notice period. In all reality, you know, companies turn around, they go bust, they have restructurings, and so you think you're in a permanent job, and actually it comes as a much bigger shock to you when suddenly you find yourself not employed anymore. I think when you're an entrepreneur, you actually plan that move away from the corporate life or wherever you are into self-employment, and you plan that and the financial impact on you as well. I mean, I grew up with a father who was self-employed, and it scared the living daylights out of me. I watched the financial ups. He was rubbish at managing money as well, so that didn't help. And I watched those ups and downs, and there were probably 4 junctures in my life where I seriously considered becoming self-employed, but it scared me too much not to have the financial stability. And then when I took the plunge a year ago, you know, it was probably not the best time in my life to make that decision. However, my approach and attitude towards money has changed totally since I've become self-employed. From giving up a big salary to starting out for the first few months with no income and having to, you know, live off the savings and everything else. Actually, you change your approach, and you don't need that big salary anymore because actually you found a way to live differently. And I think for me, what it's given me, and I was working the 70-hour weeks, I was travelling a lot. I still work long hours, but I work them differently. I manage my life and my hours differently, and I'm in control of it. And so, you know, I'll come to a networking breakfast, and I don't feel guilty about spending 2 hours doing that because that's part of my business model and my business growth.
Part of your strategy.
It is strategy, but it's different. In corporate world, you would never have said to your boss, "Oh, I'm taking 2 hours to go to breakfast." They would have said, "Well, what are you up to?" You know, it's a totally different mindset, and I think that freedom of your own mindset to actually do things the way you want to do it makes a huge difference in your life.
Yeah, and I think you just picked up on a point there about coming networking. This is not about networking, but it's obviously a key part of the business to expand, because we're all working in isolation in individual businesses, so we need that interaction with people. But not only that, I think we need the skills and abilities that other people have. Like if I needed a HR person, guess who I'm going to go to? Well, we work together anyway. I'd go to Tarnya. So if I needed someone who's going to do copywriting or someone who's doing a photographer, I know people that I can link it with. And so you go from this corporate environment where I've worked for big businesses, where I've had specific departments that looked after marketing and HR, and I just picked the phone up. We don't have that when you work for yourself, and I think a lot of people are scared of that. But actually, there's other people in the same boat as you that can give you those skills, and I think that's quite interesting.
But also, when you're in the corporate world, when you're trying to tap into those different departments, as you call it, you get a lot of barriers and blockages and frustrations, which just weigh you down in your day. It's just people have their own agendas and internal politics.
True.
Whereas when you're doing your own thing, you're captain of your own ship, so you can pull into your team, if you like, all these different other entrepreneurs, and we all win, and that's a really good, happy feeling. And if it doesn't make you happy, don't do it. Life's too short. So work with people that are on that same journey and make you happy and add to what you're doing, and you add to them, and it's all very reciprocal. And it's a really amazing world out there. And coming out of corporate world, I really had the blinkers lifted off. I used to do all my networking in city suited environments, and I thought that's the only place I'm ever going to work, and I've got to network these same few people all the time because that will be my next career step. One of these people will open my next door. When I found a networking universe, as there is, of entrepreneurs, that a lot of these people like me have come out of corporate world, and they are hugely talented. They've got fantastic individual businesses, and I think the UK is seeing a massive shift into this sort of business model. So anybody sat at their desk and waiting for that paycheck, they're 2 weeks into their 4 weeks and they've run out of money till the next payday, or they're watching the clock down on a Friday afternoon till 5 o'clock to go and do the school run and the supermarket run and do everything you've got to squeeze into a weekend, and then lo and behold it's Monday morning again. Just look outside the box. There is a big universe out there.
I think one of the things as well that I think that, leading on from what Julie just said, was in the corporate world, we look at those other departments, but we don't treat each other as internal customers. When you're a self-employed person, actually you are somebody else's customer, and somebody else is your customer, and your whole mental approach towards each other is very much that customer service thing. In businesses, we've lost that. When you're working in the corporate world, you've lost actually your internal customer base, and so
the finger pointing inside corporate world is just so time wasting.
And I think I mean, if you look at businesses as they evolve as well, then when you start off from a small business like our businesses are relatively small, and they grow, what tends to happen is you lose that link that you're talking about, Tarnya. So what happens is people start putting bureaucracy in and checks and balances in because they don't trust, they can't interact with everyone within that. If you've got an organisation with 500,000 employees, you're not going to know everyone. It's impossible. So you have to put all these things in place to keep everyone in control. But actually, that's restricting the very thing that you want your business to be, which is
innovative and growing and positive and moving forward.
But the thing is, you can do that in the larger company if you do it right, and it's all about your employee engagement, and it's making sure that you engage with your employees in the same way as you would have when you were a small business. You can have your structure and you can have your rules. Obviously you need those things for compliance, but you can still treat your staff in a way that involves them in the business and gets the best out of them.
I don't think there's some relatively young businesses that are actually doing that. If you look at some of the big corporations that we've got, like the likes of Google and Facebook, and their way of interacting with their staff is totally different. They're given time out to go and work on things they want to work on, whatever it is. So it keeps that freshness going, innovation, and I think that's quite interesting.
The key there, and whether it's you as an individual, as an entrepreneur starting out, or whether you're in a big corporate, is engage your passions, because if you're not doing something that you're passionate about, you're just sitting there watching the clock and taking the money, and you're not going to be passionate about driving your business forward, whether it be a start-up or a multi-million-pound company. If you're not passionate about it, you're not on message and enjoy it, you've just signed the employee contract to take the money because it's a good salary, you're not going to be happy at 4:30 on a Friday afternoon, wherever you are. So you need to follow your passions. And, if you're thinking about taking that leap into entrepreneurial world, think about what you're passionate about, whether it's your family, a particular hobby, helping people, whatever your driver inside is that's burning away, you've got to grab your passion because you've only got one shot at it.
So how did they just talking about that, because people are going to be listening now and they go, yeah, that's all great, Julian, but yeah, I'm absolutely panicked. That's you've done that.
Yeah.
They see other people doing
Yeah,
things
yeah.
and think, yeah, but they must be like, totally different or absolutely,
Yeah.
they don't see themselves in that position. So how did you feel? What made you take the leap from corporate life to working for yourself? But more importantly, how did that make you feel before and then afterwards?
Well, my background is sales, as I said, and I've been sitting at a desk doing that lead generation role for some very big corporate companies for a long, long time. And I was getting frustrated because I could see different ways the business could grow. I could, from the very front end of looking at pipelines and processes and salespeople around me and things like that, I could see the gaps that we were missing a trick at.
Yeah.
And being in a big non-entity corporate machine, if you like, my voice wasn't being heard. And as somebody who's got that little cog of we could do this better, I want to improve things, I've driven, I was getting frustrated, they were getting frustrated with the noise I was making, and we just didn't fit anymore.
Right.
So I went networking. I was introduced to this almost hidden universe
world.
of entrepreneurs rather than the corporate networking world, and they are a lot of similars and lots of crossover, but it's a completely new world to me. And I stood there and I was totally inspired by a room full of people who were complete plethora of different industries, but all doing the same thing of getting out there, meeting people, telling them about their exciting business. They were all passionate about their thing. And I stood there and I thought, well, I can do what I do in corporate world, but help other people. And I just stood there, this is what I do. Can I help anybody? And I was swamped with people then wanting to help me, and that's how it works out there in entrepreneurial world. You're not competing against each other. A lot of people do similar things, but you've all got your own little style and niche, and it's how you buy into, people buy people, and it's how you all plug in together and help each other, and that's the big driver. So if you're passionate about what you do, that comes across, and if you just go out there and help people, the money will just follow. Money shouldn't be your driver. If you're passionate about helping people, the money will come behind it. And that's, no looking back. I've made myself unemployable now because I just love what I do.
Yeah, I was unemployable when I was employed. But I'm totally unemployable now.
And I think that's a very common theme actually amongst people who are self-employed, is that actually once you've made that step, you never want to go back to the corporate world.
No.
I started out, I was the typist, and that was my first
there you
job.
go, that's a thing. It's like that.
And I fell into the HR world, and I've been in HR for over 30 years, and that is my passion. I love people.
And that's great.
But what I realised in my last corporate job, I moved from being the HR director to being the deputy CEO, and I took on all these additional functions. And one of my key triggers for going self-employed was actually I wasn't focusing on HR enough. Although it was a great job and I had all these great skills, and actually it was a great introduction to different business areas for me then going into self-employment, because I managed outsourced marketing, for example, which is the one subject I failed. So it actually gave me exposure to a lot of things, but actually my passion was the HR side, and I wasn't able to spend enough time on it.
That's
that was one
interesting.
of my drivers to actually say,
Now you
actually,
can
it's time
choose
to make
what
the
you
leap.
do.
It was scary. I was petrified of the
Yeah.
decision I made. But I was also, it felt like I'd taken a weight off my shoulders as well, because actually it was something that I know I'll be successful because I've got that passion. It's totally what you were saying, Julie, that if you've got a passion about something, you will be successful.
And the vision of where you want to be, and you can actually see where you are. I mean, we listened to Cross Crosley yesterday. If you check him out, really good, and he's talking about where you are. You need to know where you are now, where you're going to be, and you need your destination, all the rest of it. And I think that's, yes, it is scary. We're all, we've all got, we want a lifestyle, and we want, be able to do stuff. We want to be able to put food on the table. We don't want to lose what we've currently got in our corporate job. We've got a nice company car, if you're at that level and all the rest of it, and we don't want to give that up and think, oh, well, I'm actually losing. Well, no, you're not. I don't think you personally are. And it can be a bit tough, and you might have to reevaluate some of your initial things that you need. But I agree with both of you. If you're very passionate about what you're doing, you focus on what really makes you tick, you'll make a success of it anyway, because it's what you're passionate about. So if you're very passionate about something, then you'll make it grow, you'll engage
Feeling
with
very
it.
passionate with you this morning, Kurt. This is great.
Excellent, that's really good. Oh, in a professional way, I might hasten to add if my wife's listening. But I think it's great, and this is what I'm trying to get out to people. This is the whole ethos behind my show, is to let people know that are sort of wondering whether to take that next step. You know, they're fed up in the corporate job. I've always wanted, from being like a bit like yourself, Julie, from being in 16, 17, I always wanted my own business. I'm a qualified butcher, want to have butcher shops, and that's a whole other story. And I never did it because I was always scared of doing it, because you know, when you come from a certain place, you do a certain thing, don't you? You go to work, you do your job, you know, you go out on a Friday night, on a Saturday night, and then you start all again on a Monday, and you keep going, and then you have a 2 week holiday, and there's too many people in this grudge, and I think, especially in the UK now, we've got a lot of, we're a very entrepreneurial little island, as it were, and we've always done really well, and I think, taking it a bit political, we've got the old Brexit thing coming on, and I think the one thing that's going to differentiate us as a society, as a culture, is to become more entrepreneurial and look about what we do ourselves, and
Begin
grow
from
that.
within.
Begin with that, definitely.
Begin
and I think
from within.
there's lots of opportunities out there. So it's been really great talking to you. I don't know if any of you want anything else to add before we cut off. Or?
I would just say that, you know, just as one tip for anybody thinking of making that leap, is before you make the leap, do your homework, take a couple of days leave, go and do some networking so that you understand what support is available for you.
Brilliant.
I think for most people, we've made the leap and then we discover networking.
Yes, true.
Actually, if you had discovered networking before you made the leap, you would feel that sense of confidence that you do have support of other people.
Yes.
You do have other skills available to you that you don't have yourself.
And that's quite interesting, because I think also as well, a lot of the time, and I've talked to a lot of people and I've seen it myself, is that family's not always... My family's been really supportive of me, you know, my wife's been really, but I think a lot of time you see people where the family's not supportive, and they go,
definitely.
don't do that, because it's the cautious thing coming in. So you're
Some
right.
people are more risk adverse, aren't they? So
Yes.
more people are jump off a cliff and build their wings on the way down, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But my message would be, echo what Tarnya said, get out there, do your research, meet other people. You will find in your local area networking groups. It doesn't take, there's lots of different types you can go and visit. You know, there's no commitment, just go and meet people. Be honest, because we've all been there. Every entrepreneur that you'll meet has been there, and they'll give you their 2 minutes advice on what you need. Put the fundamentals in place, get to know a good solicitor, get to know a good accountant, but just take a leap, go for it, and follow your passions. Because if it doesn't work out, you can go back and get another off-the-shelf corporate job, because you've got those skills already. You will fit in somebody's plan, but build your own plans and build your own dreams. Don't build other people's.
It's been great. Thanks for talking to us today. And just before we go, because I am really big in promoting people as well, is Tanya, if people want to get in contact with you, want to know a bit more about you, because obviously from your business, just give us...
Yeah, so I'm Tarnya from Sage Green HR. I can be contacted by email tbrink@sagegreen.com or on 07986 544 694.
Brilliant. Julie?
Julie Scott, Great Scott Marketing. We help people with their cold calling and sales consultancy. So if your business or somebody you know needs help with their sales team, we can help them with that. You can find the website greatscottmarketing.co.uk. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it, you'll find me.
It's all over the place. Well, it's been great to have you both on the show today, and probably get you back at some point for an individual slot. So thanks very much.
No, thank
Cheers.
you.
Radio Warwickshire.
Well, I hope you found that interesting and informative, and I really enjoyed that as the first interview on this show. And there's many, many more to come, and I'm really excited about the future shows and some of the people I've got lined up, which is going to be brilliant. And anyway, I thought I'd use this first show just to give you a bit of a flavour of what's going on and what we're going to be doing. So the layout of the show, we're going to start off with a intro, which will be something to help you on your journey if you want to become an entrepreneur or you want to start a business. So it will be something like on about brand or social media or whatever the case may be, that will all help to put in your toolbox and get you ready for that journey, which is great. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to be interviewing people. So like a bit like I've done today, where we had 2 guests on, and thanks to Tarnya and also Julie, I thought they were brilliant. I put them right on the spot. I didn't give them any pre-notice I was going to interview them, and I didn't even give them any information about what sort of questions I was going to ask. I wanted it just to be a most natural chat between 3 business people, and I thought it worked really well, and I really enjoyed that, and I think they did as well at the end of it. So I'm interested in answering people's questions and resolving any issues that people have got. So if people want to start sending me questions in, and what I'll either do with that is I'll generate a specific show where we might answer questions, or a section in a show that will answer a group of questions that come in, and I might do them in conjunction with other people, so that'll keep the interest as well, so you don't just have to listen to me droning on. So yeah, it's excellent. And I can't thank you enough for listening in. It's really good. So at the end of the show, I want to look at adversity as well, because I think adversity is quite interesting, because I firmly believe that when we've all suffered with adversity to one level or another, some quite severe ones. And what adversity can do, it can knock you down and stop you carrying on and make you give up on things, or it can actually, in some cases, be the springboard or the switch to get you to do something else, and do something very positive with that very negative experience. And I've found that a lot of business people that I've met have had experienced some form of adversity at least once prior to them becoming a business owner, and a lot of people actually I've spoken to will say that was one of the turning points that got them to become a business owner. So I think that's quite important and quite interesting. I'm really passionate about raising awareness of dyslexia within the UK, and I want to focus some of the show around that, because I believe when I discovered I was dyslexic at 44, I went to university and I researched the very phenomena of dyslexia, and my dissertation was, are dyslexics predisposed entrepreneurs? And the simple answer is yes. So I want to use that experience to help others, especially dyslexics, to tap into that creative mind that they've got. And the advantage of dyslexics is the way that they work and the way that they can solve problems and make excellent leaders and great business owners. So there'll be a bit more of that coming up as well. And my story, like I said, I discovered I was dyslexic at 44, and at the time I quit my job and started a business, and I went to university, and here we are now 6 years later, and I'm still enjoying what I'm doing. So in the entrepreneurial world, about 30% of dyslexics are entrepreneurs, so entrepreneurs, about 30% of entrepreneurs are dyslexic. And everyone always talks about the famous dyslexics, the Richard Bransons, the Jamie Olivers, and even I do in some of my public speaking I do. But that's another reason for doing this show, because there's a lot of dyslexics that run business that are not famous but are running very successful business, which I believe is a better way to look at it for people setting off on the journey, because that high level of the Richard Bransons out there is not attainable to everyone, and I don't think everyone wants to get to that level anyway. So yeah, I'm going to bring you some ordinary people who are running amazing businesses. So advice that I said in the interview with the girls is, if you're passionate about something, focus on that. And if you've obviously got financial commitments, then start to do something with that passion that is outside your working hours. So use some of the hours that you use, maybe watching the TV or going to a sporting event or whatever it is. Use that time to sort of investigate your passion and your future business. Research what other people are doing. Don't emulate or copy other people. Do something different. Do something with your own slant on it. Because what is your USP? The USP, or your unique selling point, is you as an individual. Not everybody's the same. I meet people networking. I have 3 really good friends who are all HR professionals, and they're all totally different. They all have their own way of working, and they all have their own specialist field. And we'll talk about that more and more as we go through the shows. So if you've really enjoyed the show, I'd like to have some feedback for you. Please listen again. If you want to be on the show, just drop me a line at kurtpickstone@duggystone.com, or follow me on Twitter, which is @duggystone. I'd really like to connect with people, and I'd like to get some feedback and really help people on their journey. Anyway, until next time, I'll see you soon, and thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Radio Warwickshire.